Okay, so the last time we talked about half steps and whole steps. So we want to take it a step further this time, and I'll demonstrate this, on the piano and maybe a little bit on guitar here a little bit later. But the next thing to add to your knowledge to get this basic stuff down is how we name them with respect to intervals. So remember, a half step is the smallest unit of space or sound we use in music, which is 1 fret or up from 2 adjacent white keys, or between a white key and a black key. On the chromatic note line, or the chromatic music line, there are 12 notes. All of them are a half step apart. There are some, just to review, that have the same name, a different name, but are actually the same note. For instance, A sharp and B flat have exactly the same sound. So you have to remember that. B and C are a half step away, and between E and F are a half step away. Everything else is you need a sharp or flat. Okay. So let's take a look at the staff here first. It's important to understand how the G clef works. And by the way, there's nothing to be proud of by, I run into a lot of players. I don't know how to read. I don't understand any theory. I mean, come on, that's nothing to be proud of. I mean, the more you learn, the better off you're going to be. So. And again, this is just kind of salt and pepper on your playing, and the people who deny knowing some of this stuff actually do know it, and they just, for some reason, I don't know, I think they let their ego get in the way. There's really nothing wrong with knowing any of this. It doesn't make you a better player, or in someone's eyes, they don't think you're a better player because you deny knowing this stuff. Learn it. It's worth knowing, and it will. It'll add a little spice to your playing and allow you to figure out things that otherwise maybe you couldn't. So anyway, with that said, here, this is a staff, a G clef. They always tell you when you're learning this stuff that this indicates what line is G. Well, it's where it crosses here. You can have any clef. You can make it the D sharp clef, the D clef if you want, and use your own symbol. It's just it's 5 lines, and they have a name. And the G clef is pretty easy. It's one of the basic ones, and it starts like this. It starts with an E note. Let me see if I can write this E note here. So if there's a note on that line, that's E. Now it just goes up sequentially. Just get this basic stuff down. Okay, so that's F. This is G. This is A. This is B. This is C. This should be down a little bit there. This is D. This is E. This is F. Okay, and if you need to keep going, you put it on the top space, and then you just simply add lines. This would be A again. This would be B. If you wanted A flat, you just put a flat in front of it. If you want this G sharp, you put a sharp in front of it. It's as simple as that. Same here. If you go down, this is D. You need more lines, just add them. C, B. They call these ledger lines. It's there's really nothing hard about this. In school, you're taught every good boy does fine, right? That's the names of the lines, and the spaces spell the word face, F-A-C-E. Look, it goes sequentially by the alphabet. When you get A, B, C, D, E, F, G, when you get to G, you start over. It's just the first line is E. So it's E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's real simple stuff. There's nothing hard about it. Add a sharp or flat. And I'll make sure everyone sees how it relates to the piano. But again, it's not rocket science. So why is this important? Well, it's important because you can kind of figure out chords then, and it gives you kind of a nice visual representation of chords, and you can communicate. It's a common language to use a staff, so it's worth knowing. Okay, so back to minor seconds and half steps. Minor seconds are also called half steps, or it can also be called minor seconds. Okay. So I'm going to start here on F. Okay. I'm just going to say, okay, suppose we have an F note, right? And that's right here, F. If I want to go up a minor second, I can say, okay, or a half step, I'm sorry. If I say, what's a half step up from F, you can say F sharp or G flat. If I say, what's a minor second up from F, and this is important, and the only reason it's important is when you spell chords, this just simply makes it easier. If I say, what's a minor second up from F, you have to say G flat. Why? Because you call it a second, and a second indicates that it's 2 notes away. So it's a naming convention thing. If I say, what's a minor second up from G, you can't say G sharp, you can say A flat. You can, if someone says, what's a half step up from G, you can say G sharp. But if someone says, what's a minor second up from G, you got to say A flat. Okay, get the idea? You just name it 2 notes away. So there's 2 things that mean the same thing that have the same sound, and it's important to know the distinction and get the naming convention right. Anytime somebody says a second, what's a minor second up from G, immediately you know it's got to be some kind of A. Now remember, a minor second and a half step are the same distance. It's the smallest unit that we use in music. Okay, so then we talked about whole steps. Well, whole steps are 2 half steps, right? So if we start on F again, let me put, I got my pen here. There we go, F. And we say, okay, what's a whole step up from F? The correct, you got to go 2 half steps, right? So looking at the number line, 1, 2. It's G. So a whole step up from F is G. Okay, well that's pretty easy. There's no ambiguity in that. Okay, what's a whole step up from F sharp? So if we have an F sharp, okay, well we can go 1, 2. We can say G sharp or A flat. However, if we want to call it a second, a major second is 2 half steps. We have to use the name that's 2 notes away. So if we say, what's a major second up from F sharp? It's G sharp. You can't say A flat. Why? Because that's 3 notes away. Now, even though it's the same sound, but since somebody asked you for a major second, you got to say G sharp. Now, it may not seem important now, but it will when you're spelling chords. So that's the whole point. So now we have 2 things that we need to take away from this. Okay, what's a minor second? And a minor second is 2 half steps, right? Or 1 half step. Okay, you just got to name it 1 note away. So if you're on C, you can't name it C sharp, you got to say D flat. Okay, and a major second is 2 half steps. It's 2 half steps. And you have to name it 2 notes away. So if you're on F, it's G. Well, that one works out pretty good. Where you get into might be a little bit confusing or trouble, or you just got to remember, if someone says, what's a major second up from F sharp? It's G sharp. It's not the enharmonic equivalent as we talked about. It's not A flat. So that's all you got. That's all you have to remember with F sharp and then G sharp. Okay, so this is real simple stuff. What's a major second up from C? You just count 2. 1, 2, D. What's a major second up from D? Well, you just count 2. 1, 2, E. What's a major second up from E? 1, 2. Oh, wait, F sharp or G flat? Well, it's F sharp because you call it a second. Okay, get the idea? Pretty easy stuff. All right, so why is this important? Let me get my eraser here. Because now you can spell major scales. And that's the first thing that you want to learn. Okay. So I guess the easiest one to start with is, well, is a C major. So I got to put a. Let me get my trusty pen here, my red. The reason I use red is because I don't know how to change it to anything else. So remember, we're going to start with C here. Remember, this is E, then D would be underneath it. We got to add a ledger line in C. So the major scale is C to D. It's all white keys, and it has the unique sound which we're all familiar with. Okay, so why is this important? Well, you know, you practice major scales, things are in keys, but it has a lot of implications. For now, let's just learn it, and the easiest thing to do first is to understand the relationship between the notes in a major scale. Okay. Now, doing it with intervals isn't really the most efficient way, but you still have to understand it. It's easiest done with key signatures, which we'll cover in the next video. But understand this, because this gives you the core understanding of it. Notice between C and D, that's a whole step. So we'll indicate that by a 1. Between D and E, that's another whole step. Between E and F, oh, that's a half step. That's only a half step, or a minor second in this case. F to G, well, that's a whole step. F to G. G to A, G to 1, 2 to A, that's a whole step. And then B to C. Oh, that's a half step. Okay, so if you look at this, this is the formula using major and minor seconds for a major scale. Okay, now all you have to do is put this formula on any starting note, set up the same relationship, and you'll have a major scale. Okay, just a couple things. Some people call this a tetrachord because it has the first 4 notes. I don't know why. I guess, you know, if somebody says that, what's the first tetrachord in the major scale, you know? Okay. So let's, if you want to hear the major scale sound, now I'll play it on the piano then for you, but I'm sure you all recognize it. Let's say, for instance, you're by yourself and you can't figure out how to make a major scale starting on G. Well, all you have to do is just put in this same relationship. Go G, go up a major second from G. Okay, that's this, 1. Now from A, again, go up a major second, which is 2 half steps. That's 1. Now we got to go a half step from B to C. Oh, okay, it occurs naturally. B to C, so that half step is fine. Okay, there's our half step. Now we got to go up another whole step from C to D, right? Same here. Now we got to go up another whole step. Now we're here, whole step. That's a whole step. Now we got to go up another whole step from the 6th note to the 7th note. I probably should have put that in. Now, this is the one that's a little tricky. We're on E, and we need a whole step. Well, we got to go 1, 2. And it's a major second, so you can't name it G flat. You just got to name it F sharp. And a scale, by the way, will have consecutively named notes. So that's one of the things that I probably should have told you. And then F sharp, you're on F sharp. Now the last interval is a half step. You go F sharp to G, which is just G. And there's your G major scale. It has 1 sharp in it. You can do that with any notes you start on, as long as you set up that relationship. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Put them on line space, line space, line space, which is just the naming convention. You'll get a major scale. That's how you build a major scale. So you can build any major scale now. All right? But let's just before we go on, before I play the examples on the piano or guitar for you, let's do what you know, would be considered a hard one. I mean, this is easy stuff, isn't it now? So just remember this relationship. Let's see, pen. There's my red one. So again, it's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's the formula for a major scale. Guess what? There's formulas for everything. Minor scales, harmonic minor scales, all that stuff we'll get into. But, I mean, once you realize that it's just a formula of whole steps and half steps to make different scales, you can do that. Now, so, okay, well, let's do A flat, right? A flat. Okay, so the first thing we need is a whole step. Well, we know it's going to be on this line, right? So if we're on A flat and we need to go up a whole step, well, we go 1, 2. Oh, B flat, okay. Now we're on B flat and we need to go up another whole step. Well, if we're on B flat here and we need to go up a whole step, we need to go up 1, 2. Oh, okay, so it's some kind of C. Oh, this is a funny one. Geez. Okay, no, that's good. There it is. Whole step, right? B flat, 1, 2. Sorry, C. Okay, now we need to go up a half step. Well, it's some kind of D. Well, if we're on C and we need to go up a half step, well, it's not C sharp, it's D flat. So there's our first part of the scale. Now we need a whole step in between. If we're on D flat, we need to go up a whole step, 1, 2. Well, we're going to put it on the E line, and it's E flat. See? 1, 2, E flat. Now we need another whole step. We're on E flat, 1, 2. Okay? So it's F. Now, here we have a whole step, half step, whole step in between, whole step, another whole step. So on F, and we need a whole step. 1, 2. G. Now we need a half step. G to A flat. That's our half step. And there's an A flat major scale. Okay. Okay, so now what does this do? Well, one, you can play every major scale, and if you can, once doing this, you can transpose anything to another key by just simply doing this. Like if you want to play this, just something real simple like do, re, mi. If you want to do that in A flat, well, what are the note numbers? You know, and by the way, they give these numbers notes. 1, the notes in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'll be. I'll show you better on the piano or guitar. So the same notes in A flat would be A flat, note 1, note 2, B flat, and C. And let's say it went back to A flat again. So, you know, it's the basis of learning how to transpose really easily. Like this, here it is in C, here it is in A flat. So it's real easy stuff. So this is the chromatic note line with minor seconds and major seconds is how to make major scales. So next, I'm going to do major thirds and minor thirds, teach you how to spell every major, minor, augmented, and diminished triads, and then we'll do key signatures. And once you got that, now you're on your way. Okay. Once we start assigning numbers to different chords and keys, and show you how to build chords with key signatures and also with intervals. So that's the next thing. So absorb this, you know, spell every major scale. If you're on a guitar or a piano player and you don't know all your major scales, figure them out now. You know, just use this formula. It'll work every time. Okay, any questions, just list it down below. This is Keith. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 3.